stayed 3 times yesterday. Oh, there we go.
All right, everyone quiet.
Mhm.
Are we left up on the screen so everyone can see us?
Sometimes.
I could see you last week when I was in person, Ed.
Okay,
It is unless you stop your video and then you get off. Then they can't see you.
well, don't tell me that.
Oh, the bell.
I was messing with my good friend Bobby there. So he almost sat down and rang the bell. So he had to. Is there a church nearby that I didn't know? The honorary bell ringer for February 4th is Dawn Bellwether from the Disney movie Zootopia. Bellwether was the assistant mayor to Mayor Lionheart. And when Lionheart had to leave the mayor's office, she was then elevated to the office of mayor. And given who our guest speaker is today, I thought Bellwether was the appropriate honorary bell ringer for today. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance. Next, please join me in the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And now for the inspirational message, Reg Lancaster. Ignore the date that I forgot to change the slide. Let us pray.
Lord, come into our world and heal its wounds. Come into our homes and make them holy. Come into our work and make it fruitful. Come into our faith and save it from falling. Come into our minds and keep them clear. Come into our lives and make them good. Come quickly, Lord. Come quickly.
Amen. Who said that? Wasn't going to do the Marvin Wines that the church saying that, but that's great. Thank you, Reg. Rotarians and guests on the Zoom, please enjoy about a 8-minute breakout session, President Elizabeth. And in the room, please enjoy your meal. We'll be back together with a short program. And we'll hear from Mayor Gilly.
All right, so at this point, you've been invited to join a breakout room if you wish to, and we'll come back together in about 7 or 8 minutes.
Kyle's ready. We have a full court advantage because our speaker is online with us, right?
Mhm.
We can hear good.
Right, Elizabeth, are we back from this breakouts? Okay. Thank you, Rotarians, for coming back together. Thank you for joining us in the room. Great crowd in the room and a great crowd on Zoom as well. First, under announcements, do we have announcements on Zoom? Sorry.
So if I could just make one announcement.
Yes.
So as I mentioned last month, that as part of vocational service, there's going to be an opportunity to participate as a mock interviewer as part of the Mott Middle College graduation process for their young folks. And in particular, they're looking for 2 individuals that have some sort of experience or background related to health careers, and 2 individuals that have some sort of experience or background related to manufacturing or engineering. So if either of those things sound like something you know something about, and you wouldn't mind putting that expertise to good use for a couple of hours interviewing some young folks as they try to get their foot launched or out the door to launch their next steps, please feel free to reach out to me. The dates for that is going to be on May 18th. That's a Wednesday, and it's going to be in the morning. They're going to feed you breakfast and feed you lunch if you want to participate in that. So for a couple hours of your time, you'll have a chance to help young folks end their high school career and move on to their next steps. So again, that's May 18th. And if you're interested, please let me know.
Thank you,
Oh,
President Elizabeth. If you,
President Kyle,
oh,
may I make a quick announcement, just real quick?
yep, just real quick before that, I was just gonna say, if you've never done mock interviews, you'll find yourself being more inspired sometimes than the young people are, because getting to meet them, seeing their life trajectories is very great. Thank you. Okay, Ms. Coney.
I'm sorry to step over you. I just wanted to put emphasis on today. You can see I'm wearing red and I have a little red dress here. It is Go Red Day for women to think about heart health. Heart disease is the #1 killer for women. We women are known for putting everyone else first but ourselves. And so I'm a part of a group called the Links, and nationally, this day is celebrated. So for those of us who are female, for those of us who have females in our lives, we're to really try to stress the whole idea of looking at heart health, because it's the #1 killer beyond all else. So the red signifies Go Red Day for good health.
Thank you for that. I saw that earlier today. I'm wearing a pink shirt, which isn't red, but I feel like I'm heading in the direction, right, of supporting that. Other announcements? Any health and welfare? Saw Jerry Hill on the Zoom. Good to see you, Jerry. And Jerry Noodle in the room waved at me. Yeah, Jerry's on, so good to see you, Jerry. Saw you earlier in the meeting. Good to see you. Yes, and Ellen is on, and we continue to keep you in our thoughts and prayers from the loss of your father. We announced it to the club over email and in the room, but we continue to keep you and your family in our thoughts and prayers.
Kyle,
Yes.
Dick Schick is raising his hand for you.
Oh, okay. Dr. Schick, go ahead.
But he's muted.
Oh,
He needs to unmute.
yeah, unmute yourself, Doc, and the floor is yours.
There we go. In relation to what Lynetta Coney said, my wife had cancer 13 years ago, and it was rapidly growing and aggressive. And 13 years later, because of taking care of herself and having help to a female at Cleveland Clinic, she's now 13 years cancer-free. And enjoying life in the 90 years of age.
That's amazing, and certainly early detection. As Dr. Bobby always tells us, if you have questions, talk to your doctor, right?
You bet. You see your doctor frequently.
Absolutely, absolutely. If there are no other health and welfare or announcements out in the room, Elizabeth, yes. Okay, if you couldn't hear on the Zoom, Elizabeth was saying that she saw Sue Kelly at the store and she's doing well. It hopes to join us when the weather breaks and is also remarried. So that's something to celebrate when Sue comes back to join us. Great, thank you, Elizabeth. Nobody's gonna want you at 85. I think I know Mike well enough, I can get away with that. That takes us now, I believe, to our 50-50, if I could call up Fred. Well, and given all of the talk about medical care, I'm going to ask if Dr. Bobby can come and fill the tickets. Since we're talking about our trusted medical professionals. For third place, 81736. 736. All right, well, there's the third place. It's your lucky day. Whoever left. Who left your tickets? You know, when I grew up, we said finders keepers lose a 3%. Okay, they were nominees. All right. All right, we got a real crumpled one. 81689. And it's Dr. Bobby. All right. Okay, so far, the elected official, we got all the tickets. If Joe Feikman's next, I'm going to say something. 81722. All right, we got it. Oh, Elizabeth said keep. Christine, sorry. Thank you, said keep it. Thank you. Thank you, Christine. She said keep it. We're just gonna keep walking. If you could remember to mute your phones, especially in the room or on Zoom, just make sure you're on mute in case you have an interruption. Recording, I think was hit, yes. Yeah. Not going to find past President George for. Oh, he was asking right. Okay.
Yep. And Kyle, we do have a few guests in Zoom. I don't know if you have any in person.
Yes, thank you. Yep, we need to recognize our guests in the room. I'm going to ask first Dominique, I think you know the guest, if you'd like to. My wife is looking forward to that. We're fans of Pokey, so thank you for joining us. Thank you. Yep. And on Zoom, visitors.
All right, we've got, I think, 4 guests on Zoom. 3 of them are from the Ruth Mott Foundation. We've got Jafina Clark, Community Engagement Officer, and then we've got Program Officers Aaron Franzen, and Kenneth Frierson. And also joining us, we have Jenny Godleski, spouse of Nick.
Well, welcome all. Thank you. We are pleased today to be joined by, starting off our governance month. As you know, every February, we have local elected officials or topics related to governance join us here at Flint Rotary. I will mention that while this is an election year, the mayor is here in his official capacity. And of course, we will have our traditional general election mayor's forum as we get closer to the general election later this year. I have the privilege of giving a brief introduction of the mayor. Although the mayor is not a stranger, he's been here many times in his prior capacities and as mayor, of course. Sheldon Neely is a lifelong resident of Flint. He's a father, small business owner, and a man of God with an enduring commitment to serving his neighbors and his community. He was born here in Flint and raised in Flint. Has a degree from Delta Community College and attended Saginaw Valley State University. Most of his professional career was actually spent around the corner, spending 27 years as an engineer for WJRT Channel 12 right here around the corner, including serving as the local union president for the Broadcast Employees Technical Communication Workers of America. He's worked as a counselor in Flint schools and served as a voluntary CEO of Flint Intercity Junior Golf League, which his father founded. If you know the mayor, he loves a lot of things, including his family, the city of Flint, and his faith. One of his true loves, though, may be on the golf course. And I don't know if it's political, but he doesn't veer to the left or the right. His drives go right down the middle. His commitment to public service started in 2002, and he joined the Flint Civil Service Commission. In 2005, he was elected to the first of 3 terms as city council member for the 6th ward, which is the center and west part of the city. In 2014, he was elected to the 34th House District in the State House of Representatives. He was elected to 3 terms. And in 2019, he was elected as mayor of the city of Flint. He and his wife, Cynthia, who is currently the state representative, live here in the city, of course. They have 2 children, Taylor and Morgan, and they also own a small business over on East Court, making it over salon. Please welcome the mayor of the city of Flint, the Honorable Sheldon Neely. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope I'm unmuted. Thank you, Kyle, for that wonderful introduction as we are all under God's watchful eye today, and we're all enjoying this summer-like weather today. Forgive me for being in Zoom and not in person. This is the first time I've engaged you guys this way by Zoom. So it's a little harder for me to read the room. So I'm going to be looking at the faces on my screen here with the help of our technician today. But definitely, I want to tell you guys, this is so much more enjoyable without Rob Jewell doing my introduction. I mean, it is wonderful to have that. So thank you for that, Kyle. I join you today from my home right here in the center city of Flint, where me and my wife have lived here for 27 plus years. I've only lived in 2 homes my whole life. The home where I was raised, where my mother formerly lived, and this home now where I currently live. So with that said, you know, we have a lot of work to do. Rotarians, you know, you guys have been engaging in a positive engagement for the empowerment of this city for a very long time. I now petition you all to ask for your assistance and help. Though the city of Flint is in the midst of many crises, as I call it, the intersection of crisis, a financial crisis, a water crisis, civil unrest, and now a health crisis. But I ask because we all need to do just a little bit more, just a little bit more. Flint is not doing very well on our vaccination rates. Genesee County is not doing very well on its vaccination rates. Michigan is not doing very well in its vaccination rates. But when we look at municipalities and we look at the healthcare disparities for Black and brown people, Flint being more of a predominantly African-American city, we're not doing very well. Many Americans are still falling victim to this deadly virus. More than 900,000 Americans have lost their lives to this. We have to do a little bit more. Previously, in our position, we postured, and I mean we as elected officials like myself, not dictating or telling individuals what they need to do or not do, but providing recommendations based on the best science and medical recommendations. But now I'm stepping it up even more. I'm asking residents to be vaccinated, to get their vaccinations, to get their booster shots, to get tested, to wash their hands, to wear their mask, and continue to maintain social distancing. The more that we do, the safer that we all are. America cannot stand another blow to our economy, or a death deficit, something that we can never overcome. We have to do a little bit more. So I'm encouraging all residents inside the city of Flint to get their vaccination, to get boosters. We are working in partnership with our county, our state, in order to provide, vaccinations and testing through locations throughout the city of Flint. I've opened up our newly renovated mini stations for testing and vaccinations. So in your area of influence, please, Rotarians, ask each other to do just a little bit more every day to get the test, get the vaccinations, and get their booster shots. Let's beat back this deadly virus. Along those measures, you've seen in the last 26 months since I've been in office, I've been very bold about the actions that we've taken. We're still in a health emergency due to the pandemic. Also, we have another emergency inside the city of Flint that I declared back in July of last year, which is a gun violence emergency. We have a lot of deadly crimes. We experienced more than 260 mass shootings in America last year, more than 90 school shootings, these fatalities. And as our president of our country talked about this week, about the high rise in violent crimes across our country. So I stepped up and declared a gun violence emergency. Prior to me taking office in 2019 in November, the city of Flint, every illegal weapon that was confiscated was returned back through an auction process. We no longer do that as a municipality. I immediately reversed that course. Every illegal weapon that we confiscate is destroyed. No longer would the city of Flint be de facto an arms dealer, pushing back violent crime on one side and on the other side, auctioning back off weapons of mass destruction to our communities. Whether the violence continues in Saginaw, Pontiac, Detroit, Chicago, or Compton, California, this is one of the things that we all should be pushing back, keeping guns out of those who would do damage to our communities and our families. We all must do a little bit more. We have to step up and do just that much more. The disparities in which I talk about often, whether it be economic, education, healthcare disparities, or the digital divide, we've been working very hard to overcome a lot of those things. I was very proud to announce, with the partnership of our governor, a state park coming to Genesee County. Out of the 83 counties in Michigan, Genesee County was the only county that did not have a state park. We now have a state park in the old Chevy in the Hole. Taking and repurposing that property through the partnership, we have now announced the investment of a state park right inside the city of Flint. But it doesn't stop there, because we have to have equal balance. One of the oldest neighborhoods in the city of Flint, the oldest African-American neighborhoods in the city of Flint, was the St. John area, an area that was prosperous before I was born. I only know about the St. John area in its fullness from the dialogue from my parents and my grandparents. When Industrial North was established here inside the city of Flint, when the southern migrations for many people to come for the good jobs, coming from Arkansas, Mississippi, and other southern locations, many African-American families located in the St. John's neighborhood. Many communities were interrupted, strong communities interrupted through eminent domain by highway projects. The I-475 project came in the early 70s, interrupting that area, that oldest African-American neighborhood inside the city of Flint, dispatching families all across our town. But we are now working to restore that area through an investment, not from our tax dollars, but the repurposing of some revenue from the sale of other property. We have now commissioned and now have city planners redeveloping that area and re-talking about how to use that neighborhood again. I'm so excited about that, and I want to give our team in the city of Flint a big shout out, and those volunteers from the old St. John neighborhood talking about what we're doing. I'm going to make sure that you guys get a copy of the draft plan. It's a 32-page document, a draft plan on how we're resurrecting this old St. John neighborhood. I'm very excited about that. Now, we're in February, which is Black History Month, and we have many things to talk about. But definitely we need to talk about the educational system. I'm right now going to be instituting a new department inside the city of Flint as far as an educational liaison to be able to reach into the area of education, public education in a more robust way. Hopefully the person that I offer the job to will come and lead that division. But we've been making great strides, and we're going to continue to work with our partners in the educational sector, whether it be public, private, or charter. We're going to work to strengthen our community. Our children cannot do if they do not know. And they also cannot become what they do not see, which translates into today's facilitator today, Kyle McCree's grandfather. We have now commissioned through the good works and a partnership with Community Foundation and many volunteers and philanthropic hearts that gave money to the commissioning of the first African-American mayor of the city of Flint and a major metropolitan city, which was Floyd J. McCree. The statue is almost completed. And if we can put up an image of Elizabeth of that, so our Zoom watchers and some of them can look at some of the portraits of how this statue was created. It's now in its finishing stages. We were looking at trying to place this statue in front of City Hall by the end of this month, but some delays because of the supply chain and different things will push us into the very next month. So this is around his birthday month. And this statue will sit in front of City Hall to talk about the things that this great individual, this great humanitarian has accomplished. Floyd J. McCree statue will be in front of City Hall, where in 1968, we had to first sleep in on City Hall's lawn to put into place open housing, making our community more diverse and more advanced than other communities throughout our country. We're now on track to be the lighthouse of hope for many communities throughout the state of Michigan. But we have some challenges. We all must do more. We must do more around the area of transformational pieces. $94 million was given to the city of Flint from the American Rescue Plan. $1.9 trillion was delivered to America by high-minded legislation. $94 million of those, that 1.9 trillion has arrived to the city of Flint. $114 million to the Flint Community Schools. $77 million to the county. Transformational, one-time dollars. We can make a difference, but we all have to really change the way we think and get away from this, what I call the negative normal inside this community. And so we will definitely do that. I've hired a company for oversight and compliance so we can make sure that we are compliant with the dollars that's come in. I made a pledge that I would not spend $1 of that money unless we can track it from its inception to its expiration. I guarantee that these dollars will not miss its mark. Now you all see the level of dysfunction of some of our local government, city council. I won't be bashful when I talk about these things, but we all must do more to press them into engaging in a positive way that we can all enhance the quality of life for residents inside the city of Flint. The city of Flint will be going on a tour starting on February 17th at Mott Community College in quads of our city to ingest and take more information on how these dollars should be used. From our surveys prior, from our surveys electronically and different measurements, we have looked at ways to be able to dispatch these dollars for the common good from the recommendations from public. Elizabeth, can you put up that graphic? We've gleaned thus far, and this is a draft document, 5 major buckets. We talk about economic development, blight elimination, safety, crime prevention, homeowner repair, and infrastructure, and public health. From those, you see other different buckets as a drop-down buckets. And so it's these recommendations, this draft is not limited to these categories. We'll be making one final pass of of our activities for engagement with the public with our new compliancy and oversight company, EY, to talk about how we can use these dollars. I will not allow these dollars to be misplaced. And this is where I go to the P section of my dictionary. I call it pain, poverty, and a pandemic. No longer will they pick the pockets of the poor. And I know Kyle liked that when I do those type of things, but definitely we will not miss the mark with these dollars. More than $1.5 billion in the last 7 years have went through the region of the city of Flint to help us recover from our water crisis. But we're hard pressed to be able to figure out where those dollars are and how they've been handled. No longer will that happen. Also, I believe as a mayor, water is a human right. And you can take that down now, Elizabeth. I believe water is a human right. A very famous author through the mid 1960s and also the early 1950s, James Baldwin, he had a quote that says, "How can I believe what you say when I see what you do?" So I follow what I say by my actions. I believe water is a human right. For the last 26 months since I've been in office, I have not disconnected one water user for the lack of payment. Not one, as we engage in our flat rate water study. Seeing how we can engage water and customer users to be able to afford this very essential quality of water for our lives. We have been doing a fantastic job inside the city of Flint. The team has been doing a fantastic job with our environmental protection agencies, with the EPA and EGLE. We have passed successfully the last 3 testing cycles. Each testing cycle is a 6-month testing cycle. We have been doing fantastic work in our last 3 testing cycles. Many people ask, what is the quality of water? I often tell them no amount of lead in water is safe. But right now, Flint, Michigan is testing, if not the best in the state of Michigan, we're in the top 3 in our testing. And so we've been meeting our recommendations from our environmental agencies, but also major construction has been going on. Not only are we replacing lead service lines, and we're over and above what we thought we would have to tackle, but now in our major projects, the secondary delivery system of water has been completed and is now online. That means that part of the failure was that untreated Flint River water was put into the system, corroding our pipes. The secondary delivery system means that we will never, ever have to drink from the Flint River water again. That project should have been completed in 2019 before I took office. It hadn't even started, but now we're complete with that project. And I'm very happy to report our water infrastructure around that area is better. With our partners with AT&T, Small Tower, UVerse, and different things of that nature, we are working on our broadband. The pandemic forced our kids to went from in-person learning to working at home. This really exposed the digital divide. If kids cannot get online and could not perform online or could not afford that service, they were just left out. We're working on our broadband systems now. We're working it with our partners, trying to make sure that we get those things done. This task and these tasks in the last 26 months has aged me. I have no hair. I have more lines in my face, but we're working very hard to make sure we do these things. But once again, we all must do more. We must think about our neighbors in a different type of way. We have to think positive, speak positive, and be positive for a positive Flint. It's our home. No longer should we suffer from self-inflicted wounds. And I'm glad that someone's recording this, because these are not pre-prepared comments. I did not write this. I'm not reading it. I'm just speaking from my heart because I love this community so much. I know people out there. I heard the name Joel Fike, a great friend of mine. One day at one of the Rotaries, at a more lighter time, I'll tell you about how Joel Fike took me for my bachelor party when I was just 20 years old. I'll share that story. And Joel, if you want me not to tell that story, you know how to get to me. But Kyle, I'll turn it back over to you for Q&A. I see you going back up to the microphone. And thank you guys for your time and attention on this warm winter day.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Tremendous.
You leave the room, we have a stand-up banner with a four-way test, and I think Mr. Joe Fike would say it would not build goodwill or better friendships if you tell that story. Do we have questions? Yeah, Joel has a question. I'll repeat the question if you say that it worked. Yep, so the question from Joel was, when will the ARPA dollars, I think they've arrived, but when will they be dispensed, and specifically for the Disability Network? And I'm sure many others that have projects or requests in for those dollars, when could they potentially see those dollars committed or allotted to projects?
Well, right now, the first half of those dollars have arrived, which means $47 million that we've had. We're going to complete taking community input to make sure that we have all the information that we need from the residents. So we can see maybe July, we will start dispensing those dollars. Applications for requests for applications is going to be let out here in the next 3 weeks, so people can actually start applying for those dollars. If it fits into the categories that has been expressly pointed out by the federal government, compliance has to be put in place. The primary reason these dollars were dispatched was to backfill the holes that was left because of the pandemic. So portions of these dollars will go into facilitating those losses and revenues for entities. I can give a small and very quick example. Say, for instance, the DDA, Downtown Development Authority, is a child of the city of Flint, but it generates a lot of its revenue from parking revenue. They have also bond debt for other things that they bonded for, like a parking ramp. When they don't have their revenues from parking, they can't pay the bond debt, and the parent, the city of Flint, has to cover the debt for the bond, and so we have to use those dollars to fill the gaps in areas like that, and then we'll look at how many more dollars that we have to disperse out in those categories that is defined by the 410-page document that said it's allowable by the federal government. So I would say early July, when these dollars will be looked at. We're trying to get these dollars out into the use of the community. A few proposals have went out already for Heroes Pay, which we know is a qualifying expenditure.
Thank you. On the Zoom, let's see if there's a question for the mayor.
I have a question, Mayor, what you were talking about revitalizing that St. John area. I remember that St. John area very well. I'm an immigrant. And so we came to to Flint because of work, because of General Motors, just like, as you mentioned, the African Americans from the South came up, and we came from Europe. So we were among the immigrants, and that was an area that we all settled in. It was very much of a melting pot, the St. John area. My question is, as you're doing this, I remember a book, and I have a copy of it, and it's a history of the St. John Street area. Have you seen that book? Have you people used it? It's the history is from, I've got it right here, from 1874 to 1974.
No, I'm not aware of that book, but I would love to be able to take a look at that. If you could put the title up in the chat, and then if somebody can grab it for that, and I can go seek that out.
I think it was privately published, so I don't know how you can get a copy. You know what? Maybe I can get it to Kyle or to somebody, and then they can get it to you. How's that?
That
You can
works.
take a copy. Okay. It's a very interesting, but I think it was just self-published by someone. It's like this thick.
Wow, that's fabulous, and I'm so happy that you have that. But what we gleaned from it was a St. John Neighborhoods Association that came up, and the youngest was about 74 years of age, and they talked about that, and they're part of the day-to-day planning. If you want to get a draft copy of the plan, we're more than happy to put that out and then get more recommendations from individuals about what we need to do there. And the revenue, we put $250,000 into this project. What happened was that we've been selling property inside the city of Flint. The city of Flint, I told my team to liquidate our liabilities. We held on to a lot of different property. So we sold a small parcel of property that was estimated at a $5,000 value at one point in time, but we sold it for $500,000. We took 50% of that $500,000, $250,000 to put into this particular project to revitalize this area, which gave us a positive revenue stream on one side, and then also dispatch money for revitalization into our community, taking it not from our fund balance in the city of Flint. And so this has been a marvelous piece. And I just say that, you know, it's been ordained by God because these blessings have come by that way. And so that's how we're engaging. When we would love to hear input on how we can actually make this a more livable space inside our city.
I'll get the book to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Marie, you can get the book to me or to Elizabeth, and we'll make sure it gets to the mayor.
Okay, sounds good.
You can email that plan or have your office email that plan to either myself or Elizabeth or Rob Jewell. We'll attach it to one of our newsletters so that the whole club has that plan once it's ready. In the room, is there another question for the mayor? Fred.
What about the AGX?
So the question, Mr. Mayor, was regarding the Ajax, the asphalt facility in the northeast part of the city on the city line, and the lawsuit potentially that's maybe filed by the city regarding that permit. I think that was approved.
Yeah, we made the Eagle aware of our concerns. They're following the letter of the law as it permitting the permitting process, and so they don't have, their hands are tied to a certain point. Litigation, a city attorney has been assigned to this activity along with a couple of council people, councilperson Quincy Murphy, and also councilwoman Allie Herkenroder has been leading point on this. Because this Ajax facility sits outside of the Flint borders, we're just talking about air quality and environmental injustice. And so they're working that through, and I think they're very, very close to engaging in filing a legal challenge on this right now. But they're working at it, and the city of Flint is engaged.
And just for clarification, Eagle, he didn't mean a bird. Eagle is the State Department of Environment, Great Lakes Energy. So just the government acronyms, people that may not always know what those are.
Thank you.
Yep. On the Zoom, are there any other questions?
Yes, yes.
I have a question. Yeah, this is Jerry Hill.
Go ahead, Jerry.
My question is, where can we submit ideas for the city of Flint that would be helpful? Something that I've been working on.
Well, it depends on what the idea may be. If it's in a special area where we need a level of expertise, I would say submit it to that particular department head, or just come in and we'll have a dialogue with my office, and then we can route you into that space for whatever idea it may be.
I'll call and make an appointment. That would be good. Thanks very much.
I have a question.
Another question on Zoom? Yeah.
I do.
Go ahead,
This is Lynn speaking. It's hard to remember that we have a city before the water crisis and before the pandemic. So this question I would like it to be considered before all of our most recent crises. But we are a shrinking city. We've been shrinking for a long time. I read recently where the city, we have 55 parks. I don't know if that's an accurate number, but and the same thing with revitalizing our neighborhoods. We don't have enough people to populate all our neighborhoods. And I'm curious of how we're going to tackle that particular challenge.
Right now, your number is a little bit low for the level of parks that we have. Actually, we have more parks than that. That's identified park areas.
Right.
But now we need to take property and repurpose it. I just gave the example about how we're funding the St. John's project.
Mm-hmm.
We need to take these properties because park properties are entities that does not generate property tax.
Right.
The primary way that municipalities are funded is through their property tax base. And so if we look at it now, you have 23 vacant school buildings. that probably will never be repopulated as school buildings. We need to get those properties and be able to return those to business activity and business use as we diversify our ecosystem around here. Repurposing the way that lot sizes are inside of the city of Flint. When we were a bolstering community at the height of General Motors, we needed, we were densely populated. We had 40 by 80 lot sizes. But now maybe we need to double up the lot sizes to encourage more building of property. We lost population inside the city of Flint, but the county grew just a bit. And so for the lack of a better way to look at it, we're in competition with our out county area. So what are the amenities that we can provide inside the city of Flint that would attract young families to relocate here? Residential, recreation, economics, education, and safety are the 5 points of light that I count. We have the infrastructure available. Our water quality and everything, our infrastructure is getting better every day. Technology is getting better every day. If we're able to do more around many areas of those disparity, we can attract families. And so I'm looking at growing the city of Flint, but we have to provide the things that takes to grow a community. And so parks, you're a little light on the number, but until we can populate the area, we can do more.
Thank you.
We've got time for one more question if there's one on Zoom or in the room. Oh, Nick. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, Mayor Daly, Nick Godleski of Blanchard Avenue. You talked about the infrastructure with the water improving, quality of the water improving, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe I missed this, but even before the water bills are extremely high. And is there anything being done to hopefully just make it more reasonable? I just got my water bill today, and I'm like shocked by how high it just stays.
Right, Nick. What happens is this, that the truth of government, has not been done very well, right? When we talk about the infrastructure replacing, is that your internal infrastructure needs to be replaced right now as well. Right now, we're going through the city of Flint replacing water meters inside our homes. This makes it better for us to help calculate a real accurate use of your water. Yeah. And so if you have not had your water meter replaced, we will start disconnecting those because we have to switch off of the antiquated system into the new engaged system. This way you can actually calculate your usage from your cell phone if you want to track it. But the flat rate water study was done, and I had to do certain things. One of the things I had to do is keep the water on for residents so we can look at the amount of loss in leakage or the amount of loss in theft, because we have to pay our provider for our finished water product. And then I can look at a system, how we can spread across the whole system, maybe a body, so that you can calculate your bill like a standard cost of living. I think if we're working in this right way with my teams and from the instructions that I've given, we may have some good announcements as we present the new fiscal budget for this upcoming year. But we can get to this place, but we all have to participate. When it was been forgive the oxymoron, a marvelous challenge to get people to open the door to let us replace the internal infrastructure, to replace the lead service lines to their homes, getting them to respond. It's been just a real big task in trying to get that done. So everybody has to step up. What's been harming us is a lot of misinformation has been given out through the social media networking system. People have to tap into areas of understanding where we can get good information. I deputize each and every one of you Rotarians with the possessor of good information. So we have to step up and do more and just not sit back. But the water costs, as I stated, I encourage you to continue to pay your bill, but we're working on this study and we have to work it backwards.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's give the mayor another round of applause for joining us today. Really a contribution to the eradication of polio for Rotary International made in your honor. And also I'll add, just as someone who knows you well, you and your wife are in our prayers. This has been difficult in the past couple of months for the two of you as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for service today. Thank you, Reg Lancaster, for a great inspirational message. Thank you, Christina Church, for your work with Setup and Takedown. Although he got ribbed by the speaker, thank you to Rob Jewell for coordinating this and our entire governance month. Thank you, Becky, for bulletin notes, and thank you, Elizabeth, for Zoom host and assisting with our presentation. Please join us next Friday as we continue our governance month with an update from the Michigan Legislature by State Senator Jim Ananich. Please remember as you go out about your day and the rest of your weekend to serve to change lives. And we are adjourned. Thank you very much.